It finally happened. We have a fresh look at gameplay footage for AC Shadows, and we gotta get the obligatory, like, if you don't like Yasuke, if you don't like that's all totally cool. Props, thumbs up. But like, we're looking at the gameplay, we're seeing what they've done. For me, the big takeaway is just how improved so much of this is over the footage we saw just a month and a half ago. Already, it seems like the delay is paying dividends, which is a little funny that like they've been able to make such improvements so quickly. Everything from like the hair sim on Nawe is greatly improved. I don't remember seeing it at all in previous footage, but that's improved. Draw distances also greatly improved. Little bitty effects such as the dust when Nawe steps on a dirty ground is improved as well. Like, they really have tweaked a ton of stuff. It's just visually, it's notable. Little things to point out though, just so you're aware if you've not heard or seen it. The orange outlines are for like a different tier of character. One of the problems with like the old games, problems is maybe a strong word, but you would go into one of these castles or one of these big encampments and everybody was like this evil bad guy. Like, every single one is this horrible, awful, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it never really made sense because you're like, in this big castle, there'd probably be some people who are just working, who are not trying to hurt you, who don't care that much. They're just like servants, or they're cooks, or they're this or that, or they're a visitor or whoever. That's what these orange outlines are. They are characters or NPCs in the castles that will call for guards, that will call for help, but they're not guards. They're not armed. They're not like gonna fight you if they see you. They're just more civilians, basically. So that's something that they've added here that is notable. The other piece to this, obviously elephant in the room, are levels and then assassination labels on these. The other piece back here, as Nawe was walking, you see levels, and then here you see a skull. As Nawe gets closer, you'll be prompted for assassinations or not assassinating. But basically how this worked in Valhalla was, if you see the number above their heads, you can assassinate them, you can kill them. If you see the skull above their heads, they are a significantly higher level than you. You can technically kill them, but it's going to be a lot harder. It's like going to Skellige in The Witcher 3 at level 12. You can technically kill the guys there, the just regular bandits, but because of the level scaling, it pops like crazy and is exponentially more difficult. They have already confirmed though that they will allow you to go in and toggle in the settings the one-shot like assassination. So by default, I believe the big brute enemies you won't be able to assassinate if you're like 10, 20 levels beneath them, but you can go in the settings and turn on one-shot assassinations should you desire. They recommend you don't, because the game is kind of built around this level scaling, but if you want to just have one-shot assassinations, you can turn that on in the settings. Again, similar to what they've done in other games. As they go on, we go here. Where's the story trailer? They've already shown the like roadmap, and that is coming. They're going to do a big story reveal thing. We'll look at that when they do that, but yeah, it's coming. The game is still months away. They redid all of their marketing stuff in reaction to Star Wars Outlaws, so all of it's changed. But you can see the themes around light is also a big thing, where you're going to be able to knock out lanterns to take out characters and enemies. The other thing that they have talked a little bit about, but apparently is like one of their big priorities, is the wind system. I wonder where they got that idea. Where you'll see a lot of foliage and like leaves blowing in the wind. They're able to simulate something stupid like 100,000 leaves at any given time on screen. Frankly, it's insane, but they say they're able to simulate crazy numbers of particles blowing through the environment, which is why you'll see kind of swirling leaves blowing with the wind and all of that. But take out the dude, and this is something, these are what they call like rejected assassinations, or I forget what they call them, disrupted assassinations. Basically, their idea was that they wanted samurai and they wanted higher level like brute class enemies to not be as easy to assassinate as just a dude standing around. So again, by default, enemies will be able to counter or at least defend themselves a little from the assassination. Or this guy, he just straight up says nope. But that's, again, something you can tweak in the settings. They also have added prone, so you can lay down in the ground to go through levels. Yasuke, boing, boing. Dude, the blood effect is aggressive. Did you see that? Oh, God. They've also like totally overhauled, it looks like, the hair systems as well as motion blur. You can also see, look at Nawe's feet when she's stepping on the floor. You'll see the sound is reflected visually there. Instead of like a separate little bubble that shows you how much sound you're making, it's shown in circles around each of her footsteps.
Our forces will join up there. That's enough.
This one, I'm going to show you this. I wanted you guys to see if you if you notice anything that is, because Justin just put something in chat that I think is perhaps interesting. I want you to notice, see if you notice anything strange here. I saw this, I was like, what? Just watch. It's very short. Just short snippet. There's two pieces of this. Where on the one hand, they do react to the smoke bomb. That's good. These two immediately run away and just run outside the smoke. They don't want to be in the smoke because they can't see there. So they run out. The one where like the smoke bomb landed closest to is like stunned, I guess. But it's not super clear because they just kind of run off immediately and then leave him there. I'm not sure if this is one of those like bug or a feature moments where, oh, if you throw the smoke bomb right at somebody's feet, it stuns them and then they can't run off. Maybe that's what this is. Otherwise, is this a different class of enemy because he's wearing armor and so he doesn't get frightened and doesn't flee with the smoke? You know, I just want to know why these two enemies are behaving so differently than this one. If it is just proximity to the smoke bomb, that's interesting. Like, that's a cool mechanic. Let me know if that's what it is. Or if it's the different classes of enemies react differently to stimuli like this. I'm just not sure because they're behaving very differently, but I don't know why. Skill tree or gear difference, maybe? That could be it. That could very well be it. Gas mask, clearly. I mean, unironically, it could be that this character is wearing like one of those masks and maybe that filters the smoke or something. I don't know. I don't know. But it's something that we'll pay attention to as time goes by. But once again, hair sim is also significantly improved. This was something that I don't remember seeing at all in the base game, or in the initial trailers rather, but they've totally overhauled it. The animation looks way smoother. I can't talk. Way smoother. I mean, just that little side flip, assassination, and then somersault, like that was a pretty smooth animation. I haven't seen an animation that smooth in Assassin's Creed in a while. I'm used to AC Valhalla, where it's just like a walking brick at all times. Like, honestly, Eivor is kind of animated like this, where it's like, oh no, an enemy. And then you just keep going. That's basically all of AC Valhalla.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
So sorry, Valhalla. But this is actually quite smooth. They've done a lot of reworking on it, I think. Dude, the disrespect. Being able to take an enemy, I don't remember the name of the weapon, but it's like into the bushes to cover him up and then take him out. Like, that's pretty hardcore. Now, part of what I think makes this footage look particularly good, this might be blasphemy for some, is they have a really solid cinematic motion blur. That I think helps it a lot. I think this is also a fidelity mode that's being shown, as you can see in our stats for nerds. We are running at 30 frames through all of this, but the strong motion blur makes it feel more cinematic. So they're cranking quality first in the footage, and then they're also using a really strong motion blur, which leads to this more polished cinematic look. But I think it's actually implemented quite well. There's good motion blur implementations, and then there's really bad motion blur implementations, and this seems to be a solid one. But as you can see, like, watch Nawe's feet as she's stepping on the ground. Each step has a little puff of dust with it that's not comical. You can see there's a key up there. There's this point of interest. There will also not be the eagle mechanic again, so you're not going to have an eagle or a hawk to send up into the sky to observe fortresses pinning enemies before you go in. They're not doing that this time. They said they want gameplay to feel more moment to moment, as opposed to do a ton of planning for 10 minutes with marking every enemy individually here and then going in with this thing that you saw. They want you to be more immersed in the actual assassin gameplay, as opposed to using a bird to play most of the game for you. But they paired this with a big article where they went through each of these clips and they kind of described some of the things that I've been describing to you so far. Hiding in the shadows, staying low, going prone being a new big thing that they're pushing. It sounds like there's a big difference between what Yasuke and Nawe are going to be able to. So they'll both be able to go prone. But for example, in that clip of, it's gonna make me really, I gotta put in my age. I'll just go back to the video. In this footage, for example, where Nawe is crawling on the ground, assassinates, and then does this little, like, goes back prone. Doesn't sound like Yasuke is going to be capable of that, which makes sense because Yasuke is supposed to be gigantic, so not going to be anywhere near as capable of stealth sequences. Like with this, Nawe's making a little bit of sound as she stealths through this area crouched. Yasuke would be making lots of sound here. So the whole idea is that they play very, very differently. They do not seemingly want to have another AC Syndicate situation where the characters are different and they're supposed to play differently, but like by the end of the game, they all kind of play the same. So, you know, what's the point? But I mean, again, part of being skeptical is holding somebody's feet to the fire until there's evidence to support a conclusion. And when you see solid evidence that points in the direction of something, you have to be honest about that too. This is a notable step up from what we've seen previously. And the other footage we saw, animations were really, really clunky. They didn't seemingly blend super smoothly together. Here, it seems like they've done a total overhaul of a lot of the fine touches. Everything from cloth sim, as you can see, moving with Nawe, everything from the little ribbons to the cloth in the front and the back, the tassels, everything, the shoulder pauldron, everything is being simulated. That stuff is all significantly improved. The hair sim is way, way better. It seems like they've made a lot of progress. So shocker, when you give devs time to polish stuff up, they can do a good job of it and really, really refine it. So they are making progress slowly but surely. And this is just the first of a number of big updates that they're going to be doing. So they're going to be doing this one. They have, where is it? I think this is the article. Yeah, here. So you see they have stealth, they have combat, they're going to have a parkour overview, they're going to have exploration overview where they talk about that. Closer to the game's launch, they're going to be talking about the story and sort of what the narrative is throughout this whole thing. But they are really trying to focus on polish and refinement at this point, and it does seem like they are making a good amount of progress based on this stuff that we're seeing. Again, as always, don't pre-order, for the love of God. Like, never pre-order. I can't believe I have to keep saying this, but don't pre-order. We're gonna keep an eye on it. I don't know how this is gonna turn out. I don't think Ubisoft does either, but I do think that this is a significant step forward. Seeing what they're already able to do after just a few months of polishing work gets me excited because I'm like, okay, we're making progress. This isn't one of those situations where it's like, yeah, we delayed it 6 months just to get it running. No, it seems like they're actually like making some improvements. They're increasing the shine, all of that stuff, which is good. Sumaya, I'm really interested next in parkour details. Personally, the only thing I don't like is the automatic highlighting of small treasures in the area, or of all the treasures in the area. It's very possible that stuff is something that you can toggle off in the menu and settings. Historically, AC has had a lot of customization when it comes to UI and all of that. Vivek, I don't care. I will be pre-ordering. But what if I want the pre-order bonus? Sucks to suck. Didn't they take away the pre-order bonus too? I think they did. Hi, Luke. I'm playing Odyssey just because of you. Good. Dude, I've been trying to convince my wife to play Odyssey. I stand by that. That game is way better than anybody gives it credit for. I mean, honestly, it's had a resurgence and like a renaissance recently. So a lot of people are much more, I think, I'm sort of preaching to the choir a lot nowadays. But back in like 2018, 19, 20, 20, in that era, it was not that popular to say that you thought AC Odyssey was kind of a gem. You're supposed to just hate it for the sake of hating it. But I was like, no, honestly, as an Assassin's Creed game, yeah, it's bad. As an AC game with stealth, basically there's no stealth. But as an open world like adventure game, an adventure RPG, it's actually very good. It's huge. There's tons of stuff. Most people's problems with it is that it's too big. There's too much stuff, you know? Yeah, it was nominated for Game of the Year against God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. Obviously, it wasn't going to beat those because those are like once in a 15-year period games, but it still was in that same category for people, or for critics who historically are not that forgiving for Ubisoft. So it's very good. It's very good. Is that the Greek? Yeah, it's Greek. Egypt is Origins. But anyway, all of this to say, we're going to keep an eye on AC Shadows. We're going to keep looking at it. I think my general approach is like, kind of like the Hogwarts Legacy thing. If you don't like some of the extenuating circumstances of the game, in the case of Hogwarts, it was J.K. Rowling. Or in this case, if you don't like Shadows and you don't want to buy it or play it because of Yasuke and the things surrounding that, cool, proud of you. But my job is to cover games, and I'm going to cover the game. And then you can make up your own mind as to whether you want to buy it or not. But we're going to talk about the game, and you're not going to bully me out of it. So good luck. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. He took my thing.